Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, the official translation of One Piece chapter 975 is out, and I thought it'd be a good idea to sort of read through my comments in my last video and talk about them. See what you guys are saying and respond. In my opinion, a big thing about this chapter is there was a lot of people that were confused by it. And I'm curious if that's still the case, if that was just a product of reading the scans, if the scans were more confusing, or the official was better. Let me know what you think. Kinemon be like, to deceive your enemies, you have to first deceive yourself. You know, reading all the comments, it's pretty clear that a lot of people didn't understand this from the chapter. Denjiro tried to paint Kinemon as like outsmarting everybody with his galaxy brain moment. Yasui alters the plan, and so Kinemon understands this and understands how it should be read, but instead interprets it in a different way, in a wrong way, for the purpose of fooling one of the other scabbards because he knows that somebody is a traitor. But yeah, no. First off, Kinemon never expected a traitor. That's pretty clear from last chapter. In this chapter, he was shocked, he couldn't believe it, so you can't go out of your way in order to frame the traitor and mislead them if you don't suspect that there is a traitor. In addition to that, he didn't know where all of the other people were, all of the other allies were, right here in the middle of the chapter. He literally and honestly apologized to everybody for allowing the plan to be leaked again, even after Kanjuro reveals himself to be the traitor. But I think that at the end of the chapter, the official made this the most clear. Kinemon is literally thinking to himself in almost a confused way, so it wasn't Port Tokage the entire time. So yeah guys, Kinemon succeeded because of pure dumb luck. He misread something that literally everybody else understood. And this was kind of the entire point of this chapter. This was the great joke of the chapter, and it was actually pretty funny. But I guess at the same time a little bit confusing. What do you mean, JB? I felt like you hated on Denjiro. He actually saved everyone from destruction, got ships, got troops, and managed to make everyone cross the bridge before it was destroyed. He basically took care of everything, and you tell me it wasn't what you wanted? I love you, don't get me wrong, but I felt like that was uncalled for. So first off, all the love in the world, and you're welcome to disagree with me as you would like. And we will talk more about this as we get into other comments, but based on what the chapter actually told us, what we're supposed to believe at this point in time, Denjiro is not responsible for the vast majority of this. This is all essentially the result of Kinemon misinterpreting Yasui's updated plan. And so because Kinemon was misled, he then misled Kanjuro. So then Kanjuro reported the wrong plan to Orochi. So for instance, Orochi intended on destroying all of the ships, but it just so happened this has nothing to do with Kinemon. It just so happened Frankie made extra ships that they didn't need. And then the people who built the ships had already moved the ships because the distance between the locations that they intended to go had changed. They weren't going to Port Tokage, they were going to the wharf. That was longer, so they set out earlier. So neither Kinemon nor Denjiro saved the ships. And neither of them allowed their allies to cross the bridges before they were destroyed. Again, that was by chance. And the Sunny obviously survived because it was made out of Adam's wood, and Orochi and Kanjuro didn't account for that. So in the end, all Denjiro was really responsible for, all he really contributed so far as we know, to the raid on Onigashima, is the captured soldiers that were in the Flower Capital and his own subordinates. 1,200 men. Joyboy. Kinemon's original message was understood by all. It was Yasui's alteration was what was misinterpreted by Kinemon, and the other allies interpreted it correctly. Kinemon isn't pure luck as you're saying that he is. I mean, regardless of his original message being understood by all, it doesn't matter because the plan had to change. If he reads his message correctly, their entire plan goes up in smoke, but he doesn't read it correctly by accident, and they succeed. Kinemon's success in this instance is 100% dumb luck. But I want to make this clear, guys, I don't have an issue with this. This is one of the strongest parts of this chapter. This was the entire point of the chapter. It was hilarious. It was on point. I loved it. And I especially like it because Kinemon took it seriously, and it seems like Oda is setting up Kinemon's character arc in regards to this. He's not happy that he succeeded via luck. This chapter reminds me of early One Piece. Serious fight moments with comedy really well placed. You know, like the Enel fight with all the goofy faces, and the Usopp and Nami fight against Enel. To be honest, I was missing this type of things. Yeah, I agree completely. This is one of the strengths of One Piece, for sure. Is, you know, you have these climactic, serious moments. But unfortunately, and I have this problem with a lot of shows, actually, is where it's like too dramatic for too long. I just can't I can't do it for that long. And One Piece throws in that humor even amongst serious situations to sort of reset myself and get me back engaged. Like for instance, when Luffy goes and attacks Arlong and then prepares to hit him, but stabs his feet into the ground and then gets stuck. That's just One Piece at its finest. Or in Water 7, where both Luffy and Zoro end up getting stuck in chimneys and between walls. Now when we get to the final battle itself, yes, I want it to be 100% intensity all of the time, just like Marineford, but until we get there, it's very smart and it's very One Piece to throw in these comedy moments. We literally don't know anything else that Kyoshiro has done. You're judging him way too early when there easily could be more that he has done. It makes no sense to judge so early. I mean, this simply comes down to expectations. I mean, you could build your expectation that there is more than this, and that could be true, but that could also end up being nothing. At the end of the day, I'm just not sure if to Oda, in Oda's mind, this 1,200 men are that significant, and that is enough for him to have contributed. It's possible that it couldn't have, it's possible that it could have. Unfortunately here, it's not very clear, and aside from Hiyori, there's really nothing else off the top of my head that really needs to be addressed that Kyoshiro has been responsible for. But I guess what you need to understand most about this is that this is what Oda is leading us to believe. He's arrived for the final battle, and this is my contribution. This is the time for Kyoshiro, Denjiro, to lay all of his cards on the table, and he has, and this is it. So I'm just drawing conclusions about how I feel based on what I assume is Oda's intent for this chapter. Anything else that would come after this, Kyoshiro, Denjiro doing more than this, would be surprising. It would be a kind of twist. What about Luffy's first meeting with Kaido? His recklessness got him punished bad. Same thing happened with him versus Mom. I mean, sure, Luffy was reckless, and because of that, he ended up suffering some kind of defeat, but I don't really think that he's been truly punished in the New World yet for recklessness. Kaido defeats him, and then he's sent to the prison, and almost immediately Luffy takes over that prison. And at no point in time, do I really feel as though he's been emotionally affected like he was in Sabaody when he lost his entire crew, or, he wasn't reckless in Marineford, but the kind of emotion that he felt when Ace died. And these are the kind of consequences, the stakes that I really feel like at some point in time Oda may go into with Luffy's recklessness, putting him in situations where something like that could happen. A really good one here is with Jinbei, right? So as far as Whole Cake Island is concerned, Luffy's recklessness has not been punished. But if Jinbei comes back, for instance, dead, I don't think Jinbei is dead. And if he is dead, he's not going to stay dead. But that's the kind of thing that where Luffy can learn a lesson about how to behave potentially differently, or for Oda to address that in the story in some way to justify Luffy's behavior. I feel like you're making an assumption about how the fight is going to go. They're not sneaking in anymore. It's a raid with 5,400 men now. It could be straightforward assault. The entire point of the plan, and not actively and openly recruiting people, was that they did not believe that they would win in a straight up fight. Now on top of this, you not only have Kaido, you also have Big Mom as well. And they have 30,000 troops, and you have 5,400. Guys, at some point they're gonna recruit more allies. You guys know my thoughts about the Big Mom Pirates. I think that they're gonna switch teams. I think that Marco and Nekomamushi are going to arrive with additional men. I think the Grand Fleet is gonna be there. Hell, Shanks can be there. Everyone can be there. By the time that the battle actually starts, or somewhere in the middle of the battle, the odds are going to be evened majorly. But until all of these people arrive, a straightforward assault is not a particularly smart idea. And not the way that I believe that they would choose. When they get wrecked by 2 Yonko, Zoro is going to be pissed. Yeah, you guys know, we talked about this for a long time. Zoro warns Luffy and everybody else that they can't inspire Big Mom's wrath, when they have to deal with Kaido, and here we are, and now they have to confront that. This is the time for something to happen with Zoro, for him to say something. If nothing happens, I would be very surprised, but this is the time. At the same token, guys, you guys know my thoughts about the Big Mom Pirates, and so if the Big Mom Pirates switch teams, then Zoro would, as soon as this happens, immediately be proved wrong. And then be reminded to trust in Luffy's ways, because fate is on his side. But yeah, in the short term, in Zoro told Luffy to not go after Sanji because they could not risk having Big Mom on their tail, and now she is. And Kaido, it's like, it would feel very unnatural for Zoro to not say anything. I didn't like the dumb mistake, but the reason for these events is to make Yasui's death not useless. Denjiro is aware of Kinemon being thick, so the speech at the end must be the rallying the troops by hyping their leader Kinemon. That's my take. So first things first, guys, and Revujo makes an important point here. Yasu's alteration of the plan had to have some sort of significance, and in this chapter we got it because Kinemon misinterpreted it. That made Yasui's alteration all the more significant and important for the story. That's why we had to have it. Kinemon obviously wouldn't misinterpret his own message. So this is the other way to take Denjiro, and this is a far more interesting and satisfying way of looking at it, guys. And we're gonna theory craft here, based on Revujo's comments and others as well. But essentially, there's a connection between Yasu and Denjiro. Remember, Denjiro was taking care of Hiyori, and Hiyori's servant girl was Toko, the daughter of Yasu. And so this sort of brings all of these people together, and it makes you wonder whether or not Yasu's alteration of the plan was at the behest, at the order, or with the counsel of Denjiro. Essentially, this message that Yasu gave out to everybody, the change of the plans, this was Denjiro's change in plans. And so from here, you could speculate, Denjiro, knowing Kinemon as well as he does, expected Kinemon to interpret it in one way, and realized that everyone else would interpret it in another way. So the galaxy brain in this instant is Denjiro. And he did all of this because he, unlike Kinemon, suspected a traitor from the very heart of the Alliance. He suspected one of the other scabbards. So yeah, guys, I really love this theory, and I hope that this is the case. If this is the case, then I'm going to look back at my criticisms for Denjiro in this chapter, and they're not relevant. However, it still doesn't take away from the feeling that I get reading this chapter in live action, given what Oda is intending for us to believe, if that makes sense. Like I talk about living in the present and in the future. If I have to live in the future, basically project what is going to happen in order to enjoy here and now, I don't think that that is ideal. I'm expecting everything will go to plan until Kaido, and then the plan won't matter because of Kaido just being the beast that he is. But really though, I'm going to be honest with you guys, this plan from the outset is obviously going to fail because there is no way that they defeat Kaido while everyone else is looking the other way. The best that they could hope for is that because they caught everyone when they were partying and drinking and drunk, that the enemy forces are in some way hopefully significantly nerfed. But I think that the expectation for the beginning is that it's going to look worse before it looks better, and probably the Alliance is going to fail, and then the Nekomamushi and like the Whitebeard Pirates or Shanks is going to arrive, or the Big Mom Pirates are going to turn something major is going to happen that is going to completely change the landscape of the battle. Damn, man said Denjiro only contributed by bringing fodder. If this was 2K, he'd be runner-up for MVP. I just don't value fodder like that. I don't know, man. It's just, this is simultaneously one of the strengths of One Piece and one of the weaknesses. Oda draws a lot of character. There are so many named characters, which contributes to the realism of conflicts like this. Like, these Yonko, man, they have a lot of really powerful and a lot of subordinates. Not just, it's not just Yonko versus Yonko. They have entire crews. But at the same time, the more people that you introduce, the less that you care individually about all the numbers. So essentially for me, guys, if you are not named, you are definitely fodder, and some named characters are also fodder as well. Was it just me, or did Luffy transform into an out-of-bound man without seeming to lose much, if any, stamina? I mean, a lot of people have brought this up, that maybe this is another indication of Luffy growing in his ability to use Gear 4th. I can definitely buy that. It'd be really interesting and awesome, I think, if during this time, Luffy's ability to stay in Gear 4th has been prolonged significantly. The plan is already in ruins because of Big Mom. They plan just to defeat one Yonko, not two. I mean, this is like a really valid point. How is the Alliance going to account for the fact that they now know Big Mom is here? How will that affect their plans or change their plans? It should in some way. If they just ignore that, that would be, I would say, pretty disappointing. At the very least, what I want to see here is them acknowledge this fact and acknowledge that there's nothing that they can do about it and just hope for the best. Zeus has to stay with Nami. He's literally her power-up. Guys, I see so many people say this, like, there is no way that Oda can ever change this. But I want you to ask, like, where do you see Big Mom in the story? Do you see Big Mom dying? Because that's the only future that I see for Big Mom, as an ally or as an enemy. Same for Kaido, they die. Big Mom is part of the old guard, just as Whitebeard. And so you would assume, right, that when she died, her double root abilities would disappear with her. That means that Zeus would disappear as well, which means that this isn't a permanent power-up. And another thing that I think you guys need to keep in mind is that, probably similar to Gecko Moria, Big Mom's ability allows her to control the homies, probably when in direct proximity to them or giving them direct orders, to their face. In some way, I think that Big Mom has control over the homies. And so, if she arrives and she demands to have Zeus back, I think that Zeus will come back. But that could also be temporary. But I mean, people are just so sure that Zeus has to stay with Nami, and I'm just not there. It's like saying that Luffy has to keep the shadows from Thriller Bark so that he can transform into Nightmare Luffy, because that is literally Luffy's power-up. It's weird when you're relying on somebody else's ability. Hey JB, I have this idea that's been bugging me for some time now about Otama's Devil Fruit. Do you think it will have some effect on Kaido? That instead of Big Mom being the Strat's ally, it would be Kaido through Otama's Kibidango. Or perhaps Kaido will be the actual protector of Wano after this arc. It's clearly foreshadowed before that Kaido is a creature. Just want to know what your thoughts on this is. Thanks. Like, I understand all the foreshadowing here, Kaido being potentially a creature. I mean, I've gone so far as to speculate that he is not a human. He is a dragon who's eaten some kind of mythical, human or Oni type fruit. And I still believe that this is definitely possible. In fact, I think that this is still my belief. But, Kaido can't be defeated that way. I cannot envision a future in which the people don't riot. So the way that I prefer to interpret this is that strong haki like Kaido would possess, it would be a way, even if he is a creature, to counteract Tama's Devil Fruit ability. Kinemon is a beast and as loyal as they come, keeping Momo a secret even after Straw had saved him. It's not the fact of following the official that lowers your views, it's the newfound negativity towards One Piece, including your lack of good theories. You set a bar for yourself and now that bar is lowered, which in turn lowers your views. P.S. You overthink shit too much. It's a fun adventure story, bro. That's what you're not getting things right anymore. I love you, but fuck mate, you're becoming Dritz 2.0. So I just want to start off, here's another person that thinks that I'm hating on Kinemon. Like, at what point does it appear as though I'm hating on Kinemon? It's just stating the fact that his success was dumb luck and that it appears to weigh on him. At the end of the chapter, he looks very pensive. This isn't a criticism, I enjoyed that part of the chapter. That being said, to the second part of this, I've hated on literally one thing in the past, 20 chapters, and now it's newfound negativity. I just don't understand that. Like right now, people are saying that I'm a hater of One Piece, and I'm also a One Piece shill. Both of these things are true for whoever doesn't like me. It's actually kind of annoying. As being as unbiased as possible, I would personally say that I'm way more of a One Piece shill than I would be a One Piece hater with newfound negativity. I like what I like, I don't like what I don't like, and I tell you, end of story. I mean, if you want me to be fake and not say what's on my mind, then you're looking in the wrong place. But for real guys, it is kind of annoying that I go up to bat for One Piece a lot when other people don't understand things or explain things, or I try to make other people appreciate it, even when others aren't doing that, and then still we have these people who I say one thing that I don't like, and then all of a sudden it's like, fuck you. Good lord. Tanuki are known for being lucky and symbols of prosperity, as well as turning leaves and stones into, quote, fake things or using them to transform. There's definitely a connection between Kinemon and the Tanuki. Maybe his fruit is actually a mythical zone. So this is actually an old theory that we used to have about Kinemon being a Kitsune. Kitsune could also transform by placing stones or leaves on people's heads. So this is essentially that same theory, but for a Tanuki, and I'm going to be honest, I liked the theory before with Kinemon being a Kitsune. Obviously that was proved to be false when that devil fruit was instead given to Katarina Devon. But yeah, I really like this. I really hope this is the case. I've always felt that it was odd that in order for Kinemon's devil fruit to work, he had to literally place an object on people's heads, which was then sort of like consumed and becomes the clothes. But yeah, guys, this was just me discussing some of the comments in my comment section, as well as talking about this chapter after the official translation has released. But yeah, as always, guys, let me know what you think, and maybe we can make this a regular series. As always, like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video, subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content, and as always, guys, have a wonderful day.